I know you're listening. You're here because something isn't right. Something feels twisted, upside down. Things don't add up. Hello, human. Welcome to our twisted universe. In this episode, we talk with artist, hypnotherapist, and speaker Alexandra Sasha Tarakanov. She is a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner, Life Between Lives certified hypnotherapist, and the author of Self-Hypnosis for Self-Mastery Transformational Program. We also welcome back our co-host Bob from Exit the Matrix on Facebook.
Hi, and welcome to our Twisted Universe. Today, we're going to be talking to Sasha Tarakanov, and she is a clinical hypnotherapist, and she specializes in quantum hypnosis techniques. Hi, Sasha. How are you today?
Hi, nice to see you, and thank you for having me here.
We're so excited to have you. You do hypnotherapy, but it's a little bit more specialized, it looks like. And we were talking earlier, and you said that you actually received some messages from spirit, and I was curious if you could share that with our viewers today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I'm excited to share it. I couldn't wait. When we already start to share it, half an hour before we start, I sat down and I write down some message from my higher self, what the viewers would be the most beneficial for them to hear about. And of course, I wanted to share about my work, what I'm doing, but how to open it up and why it's so important. I didn't know how to explain it. Sometimes when we do something very well and you're very skilled at something, but you have no idea how to explain it to other people, why that is so important. So this will help a little bit, I hope, to open up. So what I do, I am a clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm a spiritual hypnotherapist as well. So I work with spirit, with higher self, with our guides. And I believe that there is no work that right now in that period of time on earth that can be done without working with soul, with spirit. And I have a lot of clients that actually I would not come 10 years ago into spiritual hypnotherapy. Those are scientists, engineers that were very lonely guests 10 years ago. Now they come very often, and the way they explain why they need it, first of all, as you know, in industry right now, creativity is a huge thing. They need to be very creative in order to be competitive with other companies. And since the veil is thinning, and we received our ideas always from spirit, as you know, from the spiritual side of us, they need that connection. They need to open those doors. They also say that I'm not scientist myself, but what they say that right now they're in order to progress to the next level of science discoveries, they have to include the spirit as well, because they reach some kind of limit with just logic and reasoning and numbers, but there is something else that they need to incorporate in what they're doing. So I get physicists, and I get people who run high-tech companies, and they come to ask their higher self what to do. They ask specific questions about, sometimes I don't even know what are they. I just read the question to their higher self to answer, because there are so many scientific terms that I don't know. And they receive their answer so happy. I don't understand what they got, but they say, we got it, we got it. So this is what I do in my office most of the time when I do sessions one-on-one. But there is something that's special that I started to do 2 years ago that I do with groups. I never thought that group healing can be so powerful. I thought that individual work is the best way to work on our personal issues, because they're personal, they're individual. But I find out that spiritual hypnotherapy in a group is very, very powerful, because you stay in this container of transformation. And when the spirit is involved, it takes you, like, imagine there is not just, there is like 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 horses that are moving one direction, and they're carrying something behind them, and one horse, let's say, not in the mood today, a little bit tired, but others continue to move, and this horse needs to move the legs too, the feet too. So the group is helping you when you are not in that state of progressing today. And another day, you are in that state of, oh my God, I want to go forward, but someone else is not. So this is what groups can support, this movement that you, like a river that you step into, and it just takes you to your destination. So you asked me about my message from Spirit, and it's such a big introduction to that message from Spirit, because those groups, before I start, I sit down and I write message from Spirit, what the group needs to learn today. And it's never set program. The program, the 6 months program, is every class is special for those people who are going to be present or listen to that and the recording, and it's downloaded from Spirit. So this is what I did before our connection today. I asked the Spirit, my higher self, that helps me to create the program, and we work as a team. And I asked, what are the listeners of this podcast need to hear the most? And I got an interesting message that surprised me very much.
This is very exciting. This is so cool. I'm really excited to hear it.
Thank you. Me too. I had an aha moment in the middle of that, because I saw how beautifully it's connected to the work that I'm doing. And this message is about expanding of human consciousness as a collective, what is going on, why we are experiencing so much shifts. Because as a quantum healing hypnotherapist, I see it firsthand. Like if I'm sitting in the first row in the theater, I see how human consciousness changes. Like 8 years ago, when I started my practice, in order to put someone in the trance state that they can see past lives, connect to their higher self, the higher self that is leading the session had to really knock them out. So they would not remember what happened in the hypnotic trance state, barely have some recognition what happened, and probably the recording that we were doing, audio recording, was the best way for them to recover information. Right now, it's a completely different story. People are very alert, they're very awake, and they're very, very deep. They can describe themselves, I am a little boy, when it's a woman age 60 laying in the recliner in front of me. I'm a little boy, I'm walking with my mom, I'm holding her hand. And then she can say, Sasha, I don't think I'm deep enough. I'm not asleep. But she is the deepest state when you are talking about yourself with a third person, someone else. And they can even, like parts of us, our subconscious mind, our higher self, our ego, those parts of us and many more, they can converse together. I can ask the question, and then higher self will give an answer, and then the human ego going to give an answer, their perception, and then you have like this panel discussion. So it never been like that before. Before that, the people were really knocked out because they were this integration of higher self and our consciousness is real. There is no wall between. The wall becomes thinner and thinner. So let me read the message. Importance of surrender. I was surprised why it's so important to talk about surrender today. Surrendering is a new power. You see, the opposite. Curious when it started. The shift happened in 90s with the Berlin Wall falling down. It was in 89 or 85. I was surprised by 90s. When the Berlin Wall, you remember Berlin Wall, when Ronald Reagan was president
Mhm.
in the United States, and the Germany was divided by the wall that was built after World War II. Was divided into two separate states. One was ruled by Soviets, and one was ruled by United States or like Europe, and they completely shared different ideologies. They divided the whole country in two. And there are people whose families stayed on another side, and they were coming to the wall to talk to each other because they weren't allowed to connect. So this wall was torn down in 80s. But probably, you know, things that you ignite some kind of process, and it takes time for the consciousness to grasp, oh, this is what happened. This is a new world that we are living. So I was surprised to get it because historical facts like that not often come in channeling. Curious, when the shift happened in 1990s, when the Berlin Wall fell down, the power went down, opening two opposite sides ruled by opposing regimes, connecting. Sorry, I wrote very quickly. This is the new world order. We accept to reconnect again. You connect with others. That feels like opposite. When those people start to connect together after 50 years of being under opposite regime, they feel like they are not the same people anymore. You connect with others, you feel like opposite at first, but when you connect at a deeper level, not mind, but heart, you're the same creatures. Remember, and they remind me the song of Sting. Maybe you remember the song, the artist, the Sting. We share the same biology, we listen to different ideology. This is how the song goes, because we are the same underneath. But surrender started and ignited there to remove the division that was made forcefully. You know, we are connected to spirit, but the division is artificially created by fear, ideology, religion, upbringing, and other conditions, underlining conditions to receive love. There is no condition. We accepted, there is no condition. We accepted those conditions of division. It's learned, it's observed. Recognition of surrender, that condition to love do not exist. This is the surrender. Why it's so important, the power of surrender now. Now is that, how is that for the beginning?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that about Germany now. All these young people, I don't even know if they teach it in history classes.
Yeah, they've grown up in a world without that
Without
wall
that.
there.
Gorbachev, bring down that wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behind me stands a wall that encircles the free sectors of this city, part of a vast system of barriers that divides the entire continent of Europe. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
I remember it because I was around back then.
Well, not
Yeah.
there, but yes, in that time.
My daughter, she is 14 now. She learned it at elementary school here in the United States. And I was so excited that she's learning something that I was able to see in my life, the history like that. But I was thinking such a beautiful metaphor that we are disconnected from spirit artificially. The same as those two parts of Germany were disconnected artificially by this wall that was built in the middle.
Yeah.
And when the wall is removed, and the same here, our connection to spirit is a condition, our disconnection from spirit. We are conditioned to that, and we need to remove this condition to love. There is
Where
no
do you
condition
think
to love.
that started? Like, how did we get disconnected? I mean, nobody built a wall, or was it a subconscious or a conditioning through television? I mean, where did it come from?
You mean globally?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how did we get connected or disconnected? I mean,
Disconnected.
yes.
It's a wonderful question. I don't know when it started. I know that through sessions, people often see themselves as indigenous society that are connected fully. And it's a beautiful life when they are connected to earth fully, when they're connected to spirit. It's a beautiful life. But something like say that probably when we started to depend more on our mind than our heart, when the revolution of industrial revolution happened, or even maybe religion that was like unified, not because religion, as you know, it's different from spirituality. It's a wonderful thing for people who lean into that to find safety and connection with communities. It's beautiful, but it's still not fully free. Connecting to God, you connect through middlemen.
Yes.
And with
don't
this
need
middleman,
to.
The
and this
internet is a big middleman.
you don't need a middleman, because middleman can manipulate how you connect, when you connect, the messages that he gives you from God or spirit, they are altered for his interests. So I think this is and you know, many religion, especially Christianity, are based on guilt and fear. The concept of hell is a human concept. It's not in the Bible. It's rules us. You know, as a Jewish person, I know how strong the guilt is, and how Jewish moms, they rule the family using the guilt as guilt trips and stuff. It's a strong thing. And imagine if as a mom I can do it with my kids, what you can do with a society when you have millions of people. It's a wonderful concept. It's beautiful. It's very powerful. It just doesn't serve us much. Yeah, so, but to answer your question, I have no idea. What I just said, it's just my, maybe that, but I have no idea when it started. It's a good question to ask in QHHT session, to ask the higher self. When we decided the connection is not important, when we decided to build this wall inside of us, because you see, when you ask any spiritual mentor or teacher how to change the world, how can I support the beautiful change in the world? I remember Dalai Lama came to Los Angeles, was his birthday, and I was lucky enough to be present there, and someone stood up and asked, how can I change the world? There is so much awful things going on right now. It's not fair. What can I do? And the Dalai Lama said, first you come, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't remember exact words, but the idea was first you focus on yourself and you make peace inside of you. Then you make peace inside your family. Then you make peace inside your neighborhood. Maybe then if you have time, or if you accomplished all that, you can go to city, country and expand. But start inside of you. So this wall that we build inside of ourselves, this is the wall that we need to remove first. and then go and fight. Do you have a wall? Let me help you remove yours too. It doesn't work like that. It's by example. Interesting conversation. I never thought about the wall that was present and dividing two big cultures, that it can be a metaphor for us, division inside of us. But it is, because you see, as a hypnotherapist, this is, we have a model of the mind that we work with, and I'm going to draw it for you, and you will see how there is a wall there that we need to remove in order to come to, some people call it enlightenment or awakening. Let me draw it for you. So as a it's a clinical hypnotherapy model. You might not be very, you might not like it and not agree with it, but it's a working model. And I will show you how we use it. So imagine that the human is born, and in clinical hypnotherapy, we say it's born, the mind is empty. The mind is clear, and we have some instincts, some maybe past life memories. They're not important, they're very minor, so we give them a little space. And one of them is a fight and flight mechanism that we use when we induce people into trance state. Then from 0 to 8 years old, kids start to, as sponges, receive information about the world. What is the world? How is it about? How is it organized? There is no critical mind there at all, because they're not judging anything. They just either like it or they don't like it. But this is how the world is. They're not questioning it. So they have their positive experiences. Oh, the cake is wonderful, birthday party, I like it, school I don't like, but recess with my friends at school I like a lot, now I get spanked, I don't like it. And then we have neutral experiences as well. And this is all our subconscious mind that psychologists call subconscious, hypnotherapists, clinical call subconscious, and it's 88% of our mind power. It's huge, but it's closed with a lid, and this is the wall, this is the lid, this is critical mind. And critical minds start to form when we're about 7, 8 years old, and you can see how kids start to do it. It starts to be difficult to moderate them, but we need to celebrate it as parents because they have to go through that stage. And in that moment, you can say to your kid, you go clean your room. And they will say, why should I clean my room? My sister didn't clean her room. You didn't clean your room. I don't want to clean my room too. So they start to criticize your opinions. You ask them something, they ask you questions back. Why? The question why is the most important. So this is the critical mind. Start to build at age 7 or 8, and it's very strong. It's a strong lead that protecting all our fears, all our beliefs about the world, all our subconscious mind, all our traumas. Because you see, kids, if they're going to focus on their traumas very seriously, when they're small, they won't be able to continue to absorb data. So what we do, we store those traumas in our body for later. When you're older, when you're stronger, when you're wiser, you can bring it up. And then we're going to open up, we're going to show you, you see, now your hip is hurting, you cannot walk, you're 45. This is because you were shamed and blamed as a little girl. And we store that. Now when you're older and stronger, we bring this up so we can resolve it. And you as older, you think, yeah, now you bring it up. So this is what we cannot resolve there. We don't resolve. So conscious mind is built, it's protecting this very important, very vulnerable us. So it's protecting, and on top of that, we have another filter to protect, and this filter is conscious reasoning, willpower, think that we think this is us. This is a major part of us. I decided this is what I'm gonna do, but this is only 12%. So if you decide, let me give you an example. Someone decide, I'm gonna quit eating sugar. I made my mind. I know I read all the information. It's going to be amazing for me. First of all, I will have more energy. The parasites will go away from my body, and things like that are beautiful. And you start quitting eating sugar, and the first week goes amazing. You're holding on and you're doing that. The second week is a little bit difficult. And the third week, it become very difficult. Very difficult. Why? Because this idea came, let's quit sugar. It passed that first filter, reasoning, willpower. Yes, I can do that. Critical mind, of course, it's a good thing to do. We know it's good. But then it comes here. And here what we have, what we know about sugar, sugar is wonderful. Sugar is always with you. You know, when friends go away, the sugar is with you and always make you happy. You remember birthday parties, the cakes, sugar. It's always happiness, celebration. So why,
best friend.
so why should we give sugar away? Let's give this idea away. We don't need this idea. So it starts to be very difficult because 88% is more than 12. And that's why willpower is not always enough. We need to go back here and change those beliefs about the world. And some of those beliefs, no one went there for 20, 50, 70 years to change them. You know, I will give you an example of those kind of beliefs. Joy, right? People want to feel more joy. And it's very in right now. It's very popular, a lot of joy workshop. Let's get more into the joy state of mind. And I am like, yes, I want more joy, I understand it consciously. But for some reason, it's not working the way I expect. So I decided to go back in a meditation, and I find out that when I was brought up in the environment, he says it built, because we are like computer programming, we build up like that.
Right.
Are created like that to be joyful without reason, specific reason that something specific happens so you can be happy about that, consider it as a stupid act. So when you're joyful without reason, you look dumb. And with that, go be joyful. If deep inside of you, okay, I try for 1 week, it works. Second week, but third week, it became very difficult. And then I decided, let's go check what my belief system about being joyful is. And imagine how many different belief systems we hold about that. So why I'm coming with this? Because this wall, the critical mind, is protecting us from subconscious. In order to go into hypnotic state, we need to make a little door here, a little opening. We cannot remove this wall completely because then it's going to be chaotic. So we're making a little door, we go inside and we change those beliefs about sugar. We can change the belief that, you know, it's a new environment now, and the cake is not happiness anymore. Let's see what the cake is doing for your body. Let's look inside of your body. Let's read a little bit more articles, and you can change this belief system. But we have to go and do it. Otherwise, it will always outpower. It will be powerful. That what more powerful than our decisions. So this is it. So what happened? Just a moment. I go back into what I'm explaining. So I'm going through the, what the spirit said, level by level. I have a plan here that I wrote down, and I'm going through. This is my theory of mind. And now the next one, how people wake up and heal. How people heal. So we're talking about epidemic of awakening right now, that people don't know what's going on with them. They can feel physical discomfort. They can feel deep emotions that they don't know where they're going from. They can have suddenly panic attacks. They can have rashes on their body, and then they go to the doctor, and there's no reason for that. And this I have a lot of clients like that have physical, emotional, and mental breakdowns, and they're looking for solution. And often they send to psychotherapist or even, and they get prescription drugs, not from psychotherapists, by doctors to calm them down because they're too anxious or something like that, and they're medicated. But the truth of the matter is that what's going on right now, since this wall, remember the Berlin Wall? This wall start to thin. This wall start to disappear gradually. And that's why all our trauma that we store in our body for later start to surface up in the amounts that we are unable to control. And unless we start working with spirit, we have to be medicated because we cannot function as expected in the society. So what's going on with spiritual hypnotherapy? We lean into spirit to heal us. And I often say to my clients, they ask me questions, Sasha, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? And I say, it doesn't matter what I think. My opinion, it's not matter. What important is your higher self opinion.
Right.
What important is your spirit guide support. This is what can heal you, and this is what gives you the best guidance. Me as a human, I have a very limited perspective of what is possible and what you even need. I have no idea, because I cannot take into consideration your soul contracts. I have no idea about them. Why you decided to go through that specific experience that is heavy, I don't know why.
Come back soon for part 2 when we talk about past life regression with Alexandra. You don't want to miss it.